Welcome, my friends, to English Mindcast Daily. Close your eyes for a moment. Close your eyes and imagine a busy street in the early morning. Imagine the soft sound of footsteps on stone. Imagine warm steam rising from a small food stall. Imagine the smell of bread, rice, soup, oil, spices, and fresh herbs moving through the air. The city is waking up. A bus stops. A bicycle bell rings. A seller opens a box. A worker checks the time. A child holds a small bag of food with both hands. The street is not quiet, but it feels alive. It feels close. It feels like home. Have you ever walked past a food stall and suddenly felt hungry? Did you ever wonder why food on the street feels so exciting? How did quick meals become part of daily life? Why did people begin to eat outside beside roads and markets? What if a small meal could tell the story of a whole city? Have you ever tasted something simple and remembered it for years? Why do we love street food so much? Today, we will walk back in time through busy streets, open markets, and small cooking places. We will use simple English, and we will learn through a real story. Long before big restaurants became common, people still needed food outside the home. They worked in fields, ports, shops, and markets. They carried heavy things. They sold cloth, fruit, fish, tools, and small goods. Many people could not go back home in the middle of the day, so they looked for food nearby. Here's the surprising thing. Street food was not only about taste, it was about need. People needed something fast. They needed something warm. They needed something they could hold, carry, or eat while standing. Because life was busy, food had to move with life. Try this phrase. I need a quick meal. Say it slowly. I need a quick meal. In many old towns, the market was the center of daily life. A market is a place where people buy and sell things. In simple words, it is where a town meets itself. Sellers brought baskets, pots, pans, and fire. Buyers brought coins, bags, and tired feet. Between them, a simple idea grew. If people came to the market hungry, someone could cook for them. This was the dream. Not a dream from one famous person. Not a dream with a golden door. It was a small human dream. Feed people where they are. Make food close. Make food useful. Make food part of the street. But there was doubt. Some people said street food was too simple. Some people said real meals belonged inside the home. Some people feared change. They asked, can food from a small stall be good? Can a meal without a table feel complete? Can a busy street become a dining room? And still the sellers came. They stood near gates, roads, markets, and stations. They watched the crowd. They learned what people needed. A worker wanted something strong. A traveler wanted something easy to carry. A child wanted something sweet. A family wanted something cheap and warm. So the sellers changed their food, little by little. This is how street food began to grow. It grew from daily need. It grew from smart hands. It grew from people who listened. And that S when the street became a kitchen. Picture a small stall in the afternoon. A woman sets a pot above a fire. A man cuts fresh herbs with quick hands. Someone folds dough. Someone stirs soup. Someone wraps food in paper or leaves. The tools are simple. A knife, a bowl, a pan, a basket, a small fire. But together they make a meal. Isn't it amazing? With only a few tools, people could feed many others. A street stall was like a tiny moving house. It had heat. It had smell. It had voices. It had hands working together. It gave people a little feeling of home, even when they were far from home. Repeat after me. Food brings people together. Food brings people together. Over time, streets became louder and faster. More people moved to towns and cities. Some came to find work. Some came to sell goods. Some came because their old life had changed. The city could be exciting, but also lonely. In a new place, a person might not know many faces, but the smell of food could help. Here's the surprising thing. Street food did not ask many questions. It did not ask if you were rich. It did not ask if you had time. It simply said, come closer. Eat something warm. That is one reason people loved it. Have you ever stood beside strangers while waiting for food? Did you feel the small peace of being part of a line? Did you hear the seller call out the next order? Did you watch the food cook right in front of you? There is comfort in that. You can see the work. You can hear the pan. You can smell the meal before it reaches your hand. But there was a problem. Streets were busy. Rain came. Dust came. Crowds pushed in different directions. Food had to be made quickly, but it also had to be safe and good. Sellers had to learn the rhythm of the street. Too slow, and customers walked away. Too careless, and people did not return. So the best sellers became careful teachers of their own hands. They learned when to start the fire. They learned how much food to prepare. They learned how to serve many people without losing the taste. They learned faces, voices, and favorite orders. This was not easy work. It was long work. A street food seller might stand for many hours. The heat could be strong, the day could be tiring, but each meal carried skill. Each small plate told a story of practice. One more time. Small work can be great. Small work can be great. Then something changed. Street food became more than a quick meal. It became a sign of place. A city had its own smells. A street had its own taste. A market had its own sound. People began to say, "This is our food." Not because it was expensive, not because it was perfect, but because it belonged to daily life. And when something belongs to daily life, it becomes memory. A person can forget many things, but a taste can stay. A young worker may remember a hot meal after a long day. A student may remember a sweet snack after school. A traveler may remember soup from a market corner. Why do these small meals stay in the heart? Why can one simple bite carry a whole morning, a whole street, or a whole season? Here's the surprising thing. Street food is not only food, it is time, it is place. It is a voice calling from a stall. It is the sound of a spoon against a bowl. It is the soft wait before the first bite. It is daily life made warm and close. As cities grew, more people needed fast food outside the home. Not fast food like a big modern chain. Fast in the simple meaning. Food that came quickly. Food that helped people keep moving. Food that cost less than a long meal in a quiet room. Because many people had little time, street food became a smart answer. A meal could be cooked in front of you. You could eat it on a bench, beside a wall, near a shop, or while walking slowly home. This was useful. This was human. This was change. But there was still doubt. Some people looked down on street food. They thought it was too common. They thought a meal should have chairs, plates, and quiet service. They asked, "Is this real cooking? Can a small stall carry tradition? Can a street seller know as much as a restaurant cook?" And the answer came from the crowd. The crowd returned every day. They returned because the food was warm. They returned because the seller remembered them. They returned because the meal was not far away. They returned because it tasted like home, even in the middle of noise. Say it with me. It tastes like home. It tastes like home. Street food sellers became quiet leaders of daily life. They did not always have big signs. They did not always have famous names. But they had skill. They had courage. They woke early. They cleaned, cut, mixed, boiled, fried, wrapped, and served. They watched the sky. They watched the crowd. They watched the small changes in price, weather, and mood. Their team was often family. A parent cooked. A child helped with bags. A brother carried water. A friend called customers. Sometimes one person did everything alone. But even one small stall could feel like a little world. But there was a problem. A street stall lives with the street. If the road changes, the stall must change. If rain falls, the seller must protect the fire. If a crowd moves to another corner, the seller may follow. If people have less money, the seller may make smaller meals. If people want something new, the seller may try a new taste. This is how street food learned to survive. It had to bend, but not break. Think of it like a giant puzzle, but made of daily choices. Where should the stall stand? What food should be ready first? How much spice is enough? How can one hand take money while the other hand serves food? How can a meal be quick and still feel cared for? The build was not made of stone, it was made of practice. Every day, sellers built trust. A clean bowl built trust. A fair price built trust. A warm smile built trust. A meal that tasted the same as yesterday built trust. And trust is very important, because people eat with the body, but they also eat with memory. Try this phrase. I trust this place. I trust this place. Then came the first payoff. Street food became part of the city's voice. In the morning, it helped people start work. At noon, it gave energy. In the evening, it brought friends together. At night, it gave comfort to people going home late. Have you ever seen people gather around one small stall? One person orders, another person watches, someone laughs, someone asks, "What is good today?" In that moment, the street is not just a road. It is a table. It is a meeting place. It is a small room without walls. And that's when street food became powerful. It helped people feel less alone. A busy city can make a person feel small. Tall buildings, loud roads, and fast steps can feel cold. But a familiar food stall can say, without words, "You are here, you are seen." You can rest for a moment. That small feeling matters. But then came another threat. Over time, some streets became more modern. Rules changed. Traffic changed. Shops changed. Some places wanted cleaner roads and wider sidewalks. Some people wanted street food to disappear. They thought the city should look smooth and controlled. Was street food only a temporary thing? Would it vanish when cities became modern? Would small stalls lose their places beside glass buildings and bright shops? Here's the surprising thing. Street food did not disappear. In many places, it changed its shape. Some sellers moved into market halls. Some used carts. Some used small shops. Some kept cooking outside, but with better tools and safer steps. Some families passed their food from one generation to the next. A generation is a group of people born around the same time. In simple words, it means grandparents, parents, children, and then their children. Street food often travels this way. A recipe is not only written on paper, it is held in hands. It is learned by watching. Repeat after me. Learn by watching. Learn by watching. A child may stand beside a parent and see how the food is made. Not in one day, not from a book, but slowly the child watches the fire. The child listens for the right sound. The child smells when something is ready. Later, the child may become the seller. The stall may change, but the feeling remains. This is the smart solution of street food. It adapts. That means it changes so it can live. It stays close to people. If workers need breakfast, it gives breakfast. If students need a snack, it gives a snack. If travelers want a taste of the city, it gives them a story in one small meal. Why do travelers love street food? Maybe because it feels honest. Maybe because it is open. You do not only see the final plate, you see the cooking, you see the hands, you see the steam, you see the busy dance between seller and customer, and maybe you feel brave. Because trying street food can be a small adventure. You point, you smile, you ask. You taste. Maybe the food is new for you. Maybe the words are new too. But food helps. Food gives people a reason to talk. One more time. Can I try this? Can I try this? And when people talk, the street becomes warmer. A seller may teach one word. A customer may learn one phrase. A smile may do the work of a full sentence. Have you ever ordered food in a new place and felt proud after you were understood? Did you ever feel that one small meal helped you enter a new world here? That's the surprising thing. Street food can teach language too. It teaches simple words first. Hot, cold, sweet, spicy. More, less, please. Thank you. These words are small, but they open doors. They help people meet. They help people feel at home in a busy place. Try this phrase. A little more, please. A little more, please. Street food also teaches listening. You hear the seller speak quickly. You hear numbers. You hear choices. You hear people asking, answering, and laughing. At first it may feel too fast, but then you listen again, you repeat. You shadow. Shadow means you listen and speak almost at the same time. In simple words, you follow the sound like a soft echo. That is why a food street can feel like a living classroom. Not a classroom with desks, a classroom with steam, light, voices, bags, bowls, and hungry people. You learn because life is happening around you. But there was a problem. As street food became popular, it also became easy to forget the people behind it. We may take a photo of the meal. We may say, this is delicious. But do we think about the hands that woke early? Do we think about the person who carried the heavy pot? Do we think about the long day behind one quick bite? The real story of street food is not only the story of taste, it is the story of effort. A seller may prepare food before sunrise. They may stand through heat, wind, and noise. They may serve many people and still remember one regular customer. They may go home tired, then begin again the next day. Because of them, a street has life. Because of them, a worker can eat. Because of them, a traveler can feel welcome. And that S when we understand the deeper meaning. Street food is simple, but it is not small. It carries change. It shows how people solve problems. It shows how families work together. It shows how cities feed themselves. It shows how ordinary people build something useful with skill, time, and care. Have you ever thought about that? A small stall can hold a family story. A bowl of soup can hold a memory. A piece of bread can hold a morning of work. A quick snack can hold the sound of a whole street. Say it with me. Small things matter. Small things matter. Over time, street food became a bridge. A bridge is something that connects two sides. In simple words, it helps people cross from one place to another. Street food connects rich and poor, local people and visitors, old ways and new ways, home and city. A person may not know a city's history, but they can taste it. They can stand in the crowd and feel it. They can watch how people order, wait, eat, and move on. That is a kind of lesson. It is quiet but strong. Then something changed again. Many people began to search for real local food when they traveled. They did not want only large buildings or famous places. They wanted a real street, a real market, a real seller, and a real meal. They wanted to feel the daily rhythm of a place. Why? Because street food feels close. It is not far away behind a door. It is there in the open air. You can see it. You can smell it. You can hear it. You can join it. But the best street food is not only for visitors. It belongs first to the people who live there. It belongs to the morning worker, the school child, the tired parent, The old friend, the night driver, the person walking home, it belongs to daily life, and this is why we love it. We love street food because it is fast, but it can feel slow in the heart. We love it because it is simple but full of meaning. We love it because it gives us a taste of home, even when we are outside. We love it because it turns the street into a shared place. Repeat after me. We share this moment. We share this moment. Maybe that is the real legacy. A legacy is what stays after time passes. In simple words, it is what people remember and carry forward. Street food stays because people need food, yes, but it also stays because people need connection. A small meal can say, "You are not alone." A seller's voice can become part of a neighborhood. A familiar smell can guide someone through a busy evening. A warm bite can make a hard day softer. And when we think of it this way, street food becomes more than a meal. It becomes a story we can hold in our hands. So the next time you walk down a busy street, listen carefully. Hear the pan, hear the calls, hear the soft steps around you. Look at the light on the food stall. Watch the steam rise. Think of the many hands, many mornings, and many years behind that simple meal. Have you ever built something small that helped someone else? Have you ever changed your day with one kind action? What will you build in your own life? What simple gift can you give to the people around you? Think about your own life. Maybe your dream does not need to be big at first. Maybe it begins like street food, with one useful thing, made with care and shared with others. And maybe, over time, that small thing can become a place of home for someone else. Good night, my friends. Keep listening, keep speaking, and keep your heart open to the warm stories waiting in ordinary streets.